Afternoon, live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, or India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Global Investors Summit 2023 in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, unveils House of Himalayas, says vocal for local and then to global is the vision of summit. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate first Indian Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023 at Red Fort in New Delhi. Reserve Bank of India Monetary Policy Committee decides to keep policy rates unchanged at 6.5%. RBI Governor says real GDP growth projected at 7%. Republicans take a procedural step toward voting to authorize their impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday launched the Uttarakhand Global Investors Summit in Dehradun with thousands of delegates, including industrialists, in attendance. PM Modi also unveiled the House of Himalayas, saying that the summit's aim is to strengthen the vision of local for global. The House of Himalayas is an umbrella body that showcases Himalayan products made by rural women to the world. PM Modi said that there is an untapped potential for investors in Uttarakhand and that the state is rapidly transforming itself into an economic powerhouse. He added that the third decade of the 21st century belongs to Uttarakhand. Prime Minister Modi also visited an exhibition at the Investors Summit.
हम पूरे देश में थीम बेस्ड टूरिज्म सर्किट तैयार कर रहे हैं। कोशिश ये है कि भारत के नेचर और हेरिटेज दोनों से ही दुनिया को परिचित कराया जाए। इस अभियान में उत्तराखंड टूरिज्म का एक सशक्त ब्रांड बनकर उभरने वाला है। यहां नेचर, कल्चर, हेरिटेज सब कुछ है। यहां योग, आयुर्वेद, तीर्थ, एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स, हर प्रकार की संभावनाएं हैं।
PM Modi also said that today you will see policy-driven governance in India as a country demands strong political stability.
आकांक्षी भारत आज अस्थिरता नहीं चाहता, वो स्थिर सरकार चाहता है। हाल में हुए विधानसभा चुनाव में भी हमने ये देखा है और उत्तराखंड ने लोगों ने पहले ही करके दिखाया है। जनता ने स्थिर और मजबूत सरकारों के लिए जनादेश दिया है। जनता ने गुड गवर्नेंस के लिए वोट दिया, गवर्नेंस के ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड के आधार पर वोट दिया है। आज भारत और भारतीयों को दुनिया जिस उम्मीद और सम्मान से देख रही है, हर भारतीय एक दायित्व के रूप में इसे ले रहा है। हर देशवासी को लगता है कि विकसित भारत का निर्माण उसकी अपनी जिम्मेदारी है।
India will be hosting the first edition of Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the event in Delhi, which will see thousands of participants from across the country descend to the Red Fort to witness the confluence of art and architecture. As a report by DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal.
India is all set to begin with the first edition of the Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023. The iconic Red Fort will host the week-long Biennale that will showcase some of the marvels of India. Biennale 2023 is being organized by the Indian Ministry of Culture. It is a confluence of modern and ancient art, architecture, and design from across the country. Based on uniquely designed 7 themes, the 7-day-long festival will be complemented with exclusively curated events.
The Ministry of Culture is extremely delighted to have the first edition of the India Art, Architecture and Design Biennale inaugurated by none other than our Honorable Prime Minister. In fact, it flows from his vision, which was announced in Kolkata in 2020, whereby he had expressed a desire that he would want to see developments through heritage, which is Virasat Se Vikas.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Biennale on the 8th of December in New Delhi. He will be witnessing the canvas of modern art and ancient architecture at the Red Fort, where the 2023 edition of the Biennale is being hosted this year. The exhibitions are based on themes like the doors of India, gardens of India, the temples of India, architectural wonders of independent India, the indigenous designs, and women in architecture. Not just this, the exhibition will be accompanied by interactive installations, both in physical and digital forms, for an immersive experience.
I use this platform of this channel to invite all of you, because entry is free and this is open to all. This will be open from the 9th after the inauguration, 9th of December till the 31st of March 2024 for almost 115 days for tourists, students, academic colleges, fine art institutions, architects. There is also a small program which involves the 406 architecture and planning schools, which will get inaugurated on the 9th, called Samunati, which is dedicated specifically to architecture and design.
The 7-day will also see several artists from across the country gather to discuss and hold interactive sessions. These sessions will enlighten the audiences and build awareness of India's built heritage. This confluence of art, architecture and design, which will be on display here at Red Fort for the next 1 week, will also bring thousands of artists from across the country to witness some of the marvels and creations from across India. This Biennale, the first edition, will also give an opportunity for many budding artists to pursue their dreams. With camera person Manmohan, this is Dibyendu Model from New Delhi for DD India.
Well, I've been joined by DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal at Red Fort in New Delhi. Dibyendu, tell us about the first Indian Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023 and what's special in it.
Well, Siddharth, you know, this is the first edition of the Indian Biennale 2023, and it will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a short while from now. Perhaps what the Biennale tries to do, not just in India, but what Biennale tries to do is it aims to showcase the architecture, the design, and the art marvels of the particular country, and in this case of India. So what we see here at the Biennale 2023 at Red Fort is a display of Indian art from across the country. There are replicas and models that have been created and built here on display. It will also showcase the temples of different parts of India. Remember, India has a rich history and rich architectural marvels with regards to temples across different parts of the country. So the replica models of almost all the major temples have been created here at Red Fort, which will be showcased to the world and to all the visitors that will be coming here. Not just this, remember, India also, one of the themes perhaps of this Biennale is Gardens of India. India is many cities, in fact almost all cities in India have their unique gardens. So here also a display of gardens of different parts of the country is showcased here, and the manicured gardens will be put on display here. Not just this, also 7 several other themes, which includes the indigenous women's art and architecture and craft, will also be on display at this Biennale. So this Biennale is perhaps to celebrate the art, design and architecture, not just of the ancient but also modern. It is also being known as a confluence of modern and ancient art that will be displayed here at the Red Fort.
Definitely. And Divyendu, how will Biennale 2023 contribute to the promotion of Indian art, architecture and design on a global scale?
Well, you know, perhaps the first edition will also give a boost to the art, architecture and design sector of India, because we see a lot of diplomats participating in this Biennale 2023. It will showcase to the world, you know, that India's art and architecture it will showcase, in fact, the marvels of art and architecture of India. It will also inspire many institutes, the global institutes, to draw inspiration from the different art forms of India. It will also give an inspiration to many academics to follow and study and learn about the unique forms of Indian art and architecture. So it will be a learning experience. This will catapult to a global stage and a global scale that will put India's art, architecture and design at the global scale.
All right, Divyendu, thanks for your analysis. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das has unveiled the fifth monetary policy of the financial year 2023-24 on Friday. The review by the six-member Monetary Policy Committee led by Governor Das indicates the course RBI will adopt in the remainder of the financial year. RBI has kept the policy rates unchanged.
The Monetary Policy Committee decided unanimously to keep the policy repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. Consequently, the standing deposit facility rate remains at 6.25% and the marginal standing facility, that is MSF rate, and the bank rate at 6.75%. The MPC also decided by a majority of 5 out of 6 members to remain focused on withdrawal of accommodation to ensure that inflation progressively aligns to the target while supporting growth.
The Reserve Bank of India raised its forecast for growth in gross domestic product for FY24 to 7% from 6.5%. The GDP growth forecast for October-December 2023 has also been raised to 6.5% from 6%. For January-March 2024, it is raised to 6% from 5.7%, and for April-June 2024, it is raised to 6.7% from 6.6%.
Real GDP growth for the current year, that is 2023-24, is projected at 7%. I repeat, real GDP growth is projected at 7% for the current year, with the third quarter at 6.5% and the fourth quarter at 6%. Real GDP growth for next year, and we have provided the figures for the first three quarters of next year. So real GDP growth for the first quarter of 24-25 is projected at 6.7%, for Q2 at 6.5% and Q3 at 6.4%. The risks are evenly balanced.
The Reserve Bank of India also has projected that inflation for FY24 will be at 5.4%. RBI seeks to strike a fine balance between sustaining growth and bringing inflation under 4% target amid high food prices.
CPI inflation is projected at 5.4% for the current year, that is 2023-24, with the third quarter at 5.6% and the fourth quarter at 5.2%. CPI inflation, and here again we are giving for the first three quarters of next year, CPI inflation for the Q1 24-25 is projected at 5.2%, Q2 at 4%, and Q3 at 4.7%. The risks are evenly balanced.
RBI Governor also announced that UPI transaction limits for certain transactions has been hiked.
The limit for various categories of UPI transactions have been reviewed from time to time. It is now proposed to enhance the UPI transaction limit for payment to hospitals and educational institutions from rupees 1 lakh to rupees 5 lakh per transaction. This will help the consumers to make UPI payments of higher amounts for education and healthcare facilities.
Well, DD India correspondent Shyama Mishra joins us for more. Shyama, what do you have for us from the fifth monetary policy?
Well, you have to understand that we all were talking about how the inflation is beyond the target range or beyond the comfortable range of RBI. And this time around, RBI governor has again emphasized that, even if it's down, it is still not in the comfortable range, and we cannot be complacent about it. We will always be closely monitoring it, and our target would be to bring it in the range of 4%. We also understand that a good surprise from this time's monetary policy, however, everyone was expecting that status quo would be maintained. The surprise came in with the 7% GDP forecast. Everyone is quite happy about it, and also the markets, we've seen the rally after that. To speak more on the entire RBI policy announcement, we have Anand Singhania with us. He's the CEO of JK organization. Sir, first things first, how do you see this RBI's decision? We were expecting that there'll be status quo, no changing of rates. So how would you translate it?
So I think it's been a very balanced approach that the Governor Shaktikant Das has done with this MPC. I think this is the sixth straight rate with there's no change in the rate. Fifth, okay, thank you. What I think is that, there's definitely an uptake in the markets with you look at the Sensex. Sensex is close to 70,000. We've got a very large number of the domestic demand is very high. The investment cycle has come into place. So actually, when they come up with a conservative, I think the RBI governor has gone on saying that 7% is slightly on the conservative level. So if this uptake continues, look at the GST numbers. We are at a record high, 1,70,000 crores. Which is almost $20 billion. So this clearly shows that, China plus strategy, which may have started during COVID, has started to pay out. There's a lot of investment happening, the demand is there, and many sectors are doing very well.
Also, when you're talking about, this is like the conservatory side, we heard the governor saying and the panel of, stalwarts saying that October to November is the period where they've registered robust records, and 7% is just something, it could be beyond that as well. Governor also mentioned that the summer of 2022, with the worst of inflation, is behind us. How do you see, what makes you confident that, the factors that India's GDP or India's economy is posing, that you are confident about it?
So I think the 4.8% is much lower than what it was. So people were really feeling the pinch of inflation. But now with the target of 4%, I think it's doable. Also, I think in the last week or so, what we've seen at the election side, the uncertainty that arises if there's going to be A government or B government, I think the Modi government is here to stay. So I think that certainty that gives a lot of impetus on people's investment outlook, on what they want to do with their businesses. So I definitely think it's going to be something that we will achieve and go from, a 3.5-4 trillion to 5 trillion very soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for talking to us. So that was our expert, and we all can understand how the markets are panning out, and we can understand from the investors' sentiment as well that India is definitely a bright spot, and that is what is reiterated by the governor every policy. Back to you.
All right, Shyama, thank you so much for that analysis. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi invites participation for Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence Summit 2023. UNICEF's Generation Unlimited is set to unveil Green Rising Initiative at COP28. Tension mounts between Venezuela and Guyana. Why? We will tell you.
What's behind China's mysterious wave of pneumonia that has gripped an unusually high number of children? And should the world be worried? Get your answers on Connecting the Dots at 8 p.m. IST every Friday on DD India.
Good afternoon. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has issued a powerful call to the youth of the nation, urging them to unite during this Amrit Kal and take on the role of Viksit Bharat ambassadors. PM urged that this is an ideal way to combine our strengths, spread the development agenda and utilize our energies to fulfill our mission to make India a developed nation. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal via a video message called on the citizens to participate in the Viksit Bharat movement. He urged people to propagate the movement by sharing videos, posts and articles as well. Moreover, he also called on people to join Vocal for Local movement to promote the vision of developed Bharat.
Friends, I'm delighted to share with you that today I have become a Viksit Bharat ambassador and have accepted the 100-day challenge in the Namo app. This is my homepage and I am now a part of the Viksit Bharat movement to make India a developed nation in India's Amrit Kal. We are all engaging in this challenge to make India aware of our role, our duty towards a developed nation. We all will have a chance to meet the Honorable Prime Minister if we are amongst the top 5 Viksit Bharat ambassadors. Let us all engage in the activities, propagate Viksit Bharat story amongst our friends, our relatives, our well-wishers, and engage with people to become a part of this great movement. Let's share graphics, share our videos, share our articles so that more and more people get to know about Viksit Bharat movement and become Viksit Bharat ambassadors themselves. Let's all of us together join the Honorable Prime Minister's clarion call to be a part of Viksit Bharat movement. Let us all participate in the Vocal for Local movement. Let us inspire people to micro-donate for nation building. Let us all join this movement. Jai Hind.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has invited participation for the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence Summit 2023 beginning 12th of December. In a social media post, he said that the revolutionary technology of artificial intelligence is now in the hands of a new generation, the young, brilliant minds who are swiftly enriching its vast potential. He further said India is poised to be an active contributor to the evolution of AI as one of the youngest nations with a vibrant startup ecosystem and a talented workforce. PM Modi highlighted India's crucial role in global partnership on artificial intelligence, GPAI, of which India is a co-founder. The GPAI brings along 28 member countries and the EU as its members to guide the responsible development and use of AI. A Wall Street Journal report says India remains a bright spot in the global economy in 2023. The report attributed the growth in Indian economy to its resilient currency and reforms made by the government. The report says India's economy is on track to grow at more than 6% this fiscal year, taking its GDP to nearly $4 trillion, which is pretty close to that of Germany, the world's 4th largest economy. International Monetary Fund has predicted India's economy will be one of fastest growing in the world over the next few years. The report further says that foreign portfolio managers have made big bets on the Indian stock market and have invested $12.3 billion this year. The MSCI India Index is up more than 8% this year. As Indian government bonds are set to be added to some of JP Morgan's indexes, analysts believe the move will attract additional $30 billion foreign investment into India's bond market. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has praised India, saying Prime Minister Modi took action which are in the interest of India despite pressure on him. Putin said relationship between Russia and India is consistently developing due to policies of PM Modi. He also said that he was amazed at his strict position to defend national interest of India.
First of all, I want to say that relations between Russia and India are steadily developing in all directions. And the main guarantee is the policy of the Prime Minister Modi. I can't imagine that Modi can be intimidated, threatened, or forced in favor of taking any action or decision against the national interest of India, Indian people. And there is such pressure, I know. By the way, we never even talk about it with him. I just look at what's going on from the outside. And sometimes, to be honest, I am even surprised by his tough stance on the protection of the national interests of the Indian people.
All right, as Gujarat's traditional Garba dance was included in UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, members of Indian diaspora performed Garba at Times Square in New York to celebrate the inclusion. At the UNSC Open Debate, permanent representative of India to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, said the UNSC of yesterday is always late today. She said the trillion-dollar question is to ensure peace. She assured that India remains committed to strengthening the international communities.
The trillion-dollar question is to ensure peace. Do we have a peace infrastructure representative of the current times and contemporary realities? Or is 2023 the new 1945? Clearly, the UN Security Council of yesterday is always late today. I assure you, Madam President, that India remains committed to strengthening the international community's endeavors to curb the escalating threats of organized crime and terrorism, ensuring that our collective response is both effective and sufficient.
UNICEF's Generation Unlimited, in collaboration with India's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, introduced the Green Rising Initiative at the Rewired Summit at COP28 Dubai today. The Global Green Rising Initiative and the Green Rising India Alliance involve UNICEF, Generation Unlimited, and a diverse network of public, private and youth partners. Our young climate leaders from India, Mahia Kulsoom, spoke about the importance of initiative.
We are here at COP28 in Dubai, meeting young climate leaders from all across the world. It was my dream which has come true. We have worked on different fields. My specialty comes from groundwater pollution and zero waste lifestyle. As a zero waste consultant and after carrying out various campaigns in Lucknow, the city where I belong, I have realized that there's a huge lab-to-land gap which needs to be covered. This amazing opportunity has given me scope to understand everything that's going on global level and taking all the lessons and to the ground level.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Schools and colleges to remain shut in Chennai as relief operations are underway after city hit by torrential rains. Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal speaks at the 44th annual function of Consumer Electronics, highlights India's growth story. Lok Sabha's Ethics Committee submitted its report in the Lok Sabha recommending expulsion of Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra.
This is the story of Dal Lake of Naya Kashmir.
मैं बड़ी होकर ऑफिसर बनने चाहती हूँ, दूसरी बात मैं पुलिस बननी चाहती हूँ।
बहुत काम आया, उसका टूरिस्ट आया, उसका काम बहुत जलता है।
यहाँ पे तो अभी बहुत कुछ बदला है। यहाँ का जो अभी गवर्नमेंट है, उन लोगों ने बहुत कुछ किया यहाँ पे। 2-3 सालों से यहाँ पे बहुत टूरिज्म आ रहा है।
Has the post Article 370 abrogation change, the impact of it also percolated when it comes to the local fishing community?
हर एक यहाँ पे ₹10 कमा रहा है।
यहाँ पर लोग आते हैं घूमने के लिए, फिर वो खरीदारी करते हैं शॉल्स, पेपर मशी, अखरोट लकड़ का, क्योंकि यहाँ भी लोग है ना, रोजी इनकी भी चलती है यहाँ से।
After 38 years, I have seen tremendous change in this place.
हमारा कश्मीर जो है सबसे खूबसूरत डल लेक, शांति है यहाँ पे।
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Global Investors Summit 2023 in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. And Wales House of Himalayas says vocal for local and then to global is the vision of summit. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate first Indian art, architecture and design Biennale 2023 at Red Fort in New Delhi. Reserve Bank of India Monetary Policy Committee decides to keep policy rates unchanged at 6.5%. RBI Governor says real GDP growth projected at 7%. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday launched the Uttarakhand Global Investors Summit in Dehradun. Prime Minister Modi said that just like the Make in India movement, a Ved in India movement should be started as well.
हमारे यहाँ माना जाता है, कहा जाता है, जो शादी होती है ना, वो जोड़े ईश्वर बनाता है, ईश्वर तय करता है जोड़ा। मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ, जोड़े जब ईश्वर बना रहा है तो जोड़ा अपने जीवन की यात्रा उस ईश्वर के चरणों में आने के बजाय विदेश में जाकर के क्यों करता है?
Prime Minister Modi also said that India will become the world's third largest economy, and this will happen during his third term in office.
साथियों, भारत के लिए, भारत की कंपनियों के लिए, भारत निवेशकों के लिए ये मैं समझता हूं अभूतपूर्व समय है। अगले कुछ वर्षों में भारत दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनने जा रहा है और मैं देशवासियों को विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि मेरी तीसरी टर्म में देश दुनिया में पहले 3 में होके रहेगा।
The director of Adani Enterprises, Pranav Adani, who also attended the summit, said the people's support for Prime Minister Modi has been unprecedented.
At no time in our history have the people of India so empathetically demonstrated their confidence and faith in a leader as they did for Modi ji in the recent round of elections.
The managing director of ITC Limited, Sanjeev Puri, said that PM Modi's cause for the Global South has brought immense respect to India.
Honorable Prime Minister, your vision as a global statesman and your stewardship of the cause of Global South has indeed provided a new thought process to the global community and brought immense respect and stature to India.
Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das has unveiled the 5th monetary policy of the financial year 2023-24 on Friday, and I'm joined by Anand Singhania, CEO, JK Enterprises and Director, JK Organizations. Sir, first of all, thank you so much for your time. Now, Governor Das mentioned a pause in the rate increase cycle after 6 consecutive hikes. I mean, what do you think are the reasons behind this decision to pause? And is there any indication of the future direction of interest rates as well? Sir, can you hear me? So your voice is not audible.
Okay. So, sorry, I couldn't hear your question. Could you please repeat it?
Yes, definitely, sir. I'm saying that Governor Das mentioned a pause in the rate increase cycle after 6 consecutive hikes. So what do you think are the reasons behind this decisions to pause? And is there any indication of the future direction of interest rates as well?
That it's not surprising that they paused the interest rates. The popular perception was that there will be a pause. And because the threat of inflation is still around, yes, it has fallen, it's dropped below the 6% cap that RBI has. They have, as you know, they have a band of 4 to 6% for inflation.
Yeah.
And it's right now below 5%, so they're comfortable with that. But there is, as the governor said in his statement, there are threats from food inflation on the horizon, particularly this month, last month, that is November, the food price inflation, when it comes in, is likely to show a spike. And there is some worry on the front of because of a little off-color monsoon. So there will be an impact on agriculture. So food inflation could be renewed. As a result, RBI has chosen to pause. In any case, their normal strategy is they look for 2-3 sets of data or over a period of time before they take a call. So my own expectation is that we should not expect a movement in the interest rate, downward movement in the interest rate till the middle of next year.
All right. Sir, the growth projection for the current financial year has been raised to 7%. What factors contributed to this upward revision, and how does it align with the broader economic outlook?
So that's an excellent observation, because the Reserve Bank of India, if you remember, in the last rate policy, they had projected 6.5. Now they raised it to 7%, which is based basically on the staggering growth of 7.6%, which we saw released last week on the Q2 numbers that came through. So basically the propulsion is coming from manufacturing, and which is in many, even if you take round off the base effects, it is still a very impressive growth in manufacturing.
Okay.
But if you look at beyond manufacturing, if you look at overall economic data within the credit policy statement, whether it is reference to freight, whether it is reference to e-way bills, whether it is in terms of air traffic, every number is moving in double digits, including traffic at ports. So all of this suggests that economic activity is acquiring pretty good momentum. So I'm not surprised that they have upped the rate of growth to 7% for this fiscal.
Okay. Mr. Anil Padmanabhan, now RBI governor said cloud facilities for financial institutions will enhance data security and privacy. So can you provide insights into how data access will be governed within these cloud facilities, and what mechanism will be in place to control and monitor data usage?
See, Siddharth, we have an overall data bill which has just been passed by Parliament and which is being notified. So that will be the larger architecture under which all data exchanges will be regulated and monitored. So including this set of data that the Reserve Bank is promising. So the entire effort is to secure the data and to ensure that it is only used for the purpose it is designed for. So to give you an example, one form of data use is for the account aggregator framework, which is basically a new lending framework that uses the flow-based data of companies rather than the collateral-based data that used to be used previously. And this can only be managed to an exchange of data between the borrower and the lender. And that data exchange framework is called the account aggregator framework, which is an example about how the new data rules are going to be governed. It is all under the larger rubric of the data security bill, which has been passed by Parliament.
All right. On that note, Mr. Anil Padmanabhan, thank you so much for joining in. As India leads towards development in many sectors, India's Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia lauded the rapid growth in Indian railway system at a press conference.
Railway system
पूरे विश्व में सबसे तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। अगर आज आप देखो तो सबसे ऊंचा रेलवे ब्रिज पूरे दुनिया में, मैं भारत की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, एशिया की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, आईफल टावर से भी ऊंचा पेरिस का, वो आज देश में कहां बना है? वो जम्मू कश्मीर में बना है। सबसे बड़ा दुनिया का आर्च पियर का रेलवे ब्रिज आज वो दुनिया में कहां बना है? देश में नहीं, दुनिया में सबसे बड़ा ब्रिज बना है मणिपुर में बना है। तो जो JNK को, जो उत्तर पूर्वी राज्यों को स्टेप सिस्टरली और स्टेप ब्रदरली ट्रीटमेंट दिया जाता था, आज वही प्रधानमंत्री जी ने देश के विकास और प्रगति का फोकस बनाया है। पूर्वोत्तर को पूर्वोदय में बदला है, जम्मू कश्मीर को भारत का ताज के रूप में बदला है।
The Civil Aviation Minister further said that Prime Minister Modi is aiming to reduce the logistics cost from 12% of the GDP to 8%.
आज हमारे देश में लॉजिस्टिकल कॉस्ट करीब GDP के 12% है और प्रधानमंत्री जी का लक्ष्य है कि इसे घटाकर हमें 8% तक हमें लाना होगा। और इसलिए गति शक्ति मास्टर प्लान के अंतर्गत 16 मंत्रालयों को एक ही मुट्ठी में बांधकर सभी योजनाओं का क्रियान्वयन एक साथ मिलकर करने का एक संकल्प हम लोग ने लिया है।
Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal spoke at the 44th annual function of Consumer Electronics and Appliances Manufacturer Association. The theme of the program was Amrit Kaal, inclusive growth of Indian ACE industry, and held knowledge sessions on waste manufacturing for ACE industry and more. The minister highlighted India's growth story and urged stakeholders to prioritize the quality of goods and services to enhance global competitiveness.
We are today the 5th largest economy in the world, close to becoming a $4 trillion economy. And what a transformation from a fragile 5 economy 10 years ago to a top 5 economy within this period of a decade. It's truly been a journey of transformation, a journey where the nation today is recognized across the world as an important country. More and more countries are clearly looking at doing free trade agreements and looking at greater engagement with business and government in India because they can see the growing influence and importance of India into the future.
Indian Minister Piyush Goyal said India is looking at a 10 times growth to become a $35 trillion economy by 2047. Goyal said, we look at making India the technology hub and innovation sector of the world. And the vision is very clear. The minister made the remarks while addressing FICCI's annual convention and 96th annual general meeting in New Delhi.
The vision is laid out when we look at creating India as a manufacturing base, when we look at making India the technology hub and innovation center of the world. The vision is very clear that our services sector is going to engage and grow with the best of technologies and modern thoughts across the world. We are looking at a 10x growth to become a $35 trillion economy by 2047.
On the 5th day of winter session of the Indian Parliament, Ethics Committee report on Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra regarding allegations of cash for query was tabled in the Lok Sabha today. Discussion on the report is underway in the lower house. Discussion and voting on the supplementary demands for grants first batch for 2023-24 and access grants for 2020-2021 is also included in the business today. Later, the Post Office Bill 2023 is to be taken up for consideration and passing in the Lok Sabha. In the upper house, private members' legislative business has been taken up by the chair. Schools and colleges in the southern Indian city of Chennai will remain closed on Friday as relief operations are underway in the city hit by torrential rains. Cyclone Migjom triggered heavy rains in Chennai and adjoining regions in last few days. Several parts of the city witnessed severe waterlogging. Indian Railways has cancelled 2 trains. Cyclone Migjom made landfall in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, causing severe damage to infrastructure and homes besides loss of lives and property. Meanwhile, the weather department has predicted more rainfall with thunderstorms in several districts of Tamil Nadu for next few days. And Irina correspondent Ravi Shankar joins me with more details. Ravi Shankar, what is the current status of the relief operations in Chennai?
Yeah, after 2 to 3 cloudy days, Andhra Pradesh people, they are able to visualize the sunlight. And today, Chief Minister Jagan Reddy and the Chief Secretary, they conducted a review meeting with all the higher officials regarding restoration activities. If you see, at about 8 districts of Andhra Pradesh, at about 137 mandals got affected. And out of these 137 mandals, at about 65,000 public got affected by this. And the state government it took much more initiatives to serve them all with 25 kgs of rice per household, and even for damaged house, the state government has extended 10,000 rupees of immediate relief, you can say.
Okay.
And regarding electricity and all, at about 31 special teams has been formed to restore the electricity things, and at about 98% of restoration has already been completed. And transport, if you see the transport, at about 98% of these flights and trains, all those things got restored already. And agriculture, it got a major damage. In today's review with higher officials, the Chief Secretary, he also said that at about 1,45,795 hectares of paddy has been lost in the yesterday's cyclone, and at about 31,499 acres of horticulture crops also got damaged. And they are seeking for central government's teams for the remuneration, of course. And already at about 493 crores of SDRF fund was released by central government today.
All right. Ravi Shankar, how are the affected areas coping with the aftermath of Cyclone Migjom?
Yeah, after Migjom, CM Jagan Reddy also he visited the affected places. Today he is in Chittoor district, especially the Swarnamukhi River bank embankment. He visited that places and he conducted a review with the officials there itself also. And he participated in a public meeting, and he has given the assurance to the general public that the voluntary system, which is only in AP at all over India, it is helping very much to serve and to extend the benefits to these flood victims.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, Ravi Shankar, for joining in. US President Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden has been accused of tax evasion. The Department of Justice filed new criminal charges against Hunter, accusing him of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes in indictment, which includes 3 felony and 6 misdemeanor tax offenses. He faces up to 17 years in prison if convicted. The U.S. House of Representatives took a step towards an impeachment probe into President Joe Biden on Thursday. They accuse him of taking advantage of this position when he was vice president to benefit his family and say the Department of Justice interfered in a probe on his son Hunter. Caroline Malone reports for DD India from Washington.
3 US presidents have been impeached by the House in the country's history, including former President Donald Trump. Now the House Republicans want to move forward to formally investigate the current leader, Joe Biden. Well, the former House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, actually opened an inquiry on September 12th after months of congressional investigations. That's the first formal step in the process. Then there's a procedural step. That happened Thursday, where the House introduced a 14-page resolution that allows them to go on to then vote on authorizing the probe. As for when that could happen, it could happen as early as next week. Since September, the House Oversight Committee has had 1 public hearing. They've interviewed several officials. They've issued subpoenas for Biden's family financial records and for testimony from family members, including Biden's son Hunter. Next week, on Wednesday, December the 13th, the House committee have called for Hunter to appear in a closed-door session to give testimony. His lawyers say he will appear if it's a public hearing, but not behind closed doors, as there's a risk of them not accurately portraying what he's actually said. The House committee has threatened to hold him in contempt of Congress if he doesn't appear. Crucially, though, they've not presented any evidence that Biden's actions when he was vice president are in any way connected to his son's businesses, the premise, of this impeachment inquiry. And even if they did and the House voted to impeach him, the Senate would likely not, because there is a slim Democratic Party majority. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. In men's volleyball club world championships, Japan's Suntory Sunbirds becomes first team to seal a semi-final berth. Masters champion John Rahm in a big move joins LIV Golf for the 2024 season. Italian football club Juventus are not interested in rejoining the European Club Association.
This is a story of Dal Lake of Naya Kashmir.
मैं बड़ी होकर ऑफिसर बनने चाहती हूँ। दूसरी बात मैं पुलिस बननी चाहती हूँ।
बहुत काम आया, उसका टूरिस्ट आया, उसका काम बहुत जलता है।
यहाँ पे तो अभी बहुत कुछ बदला है। यहाँ का जो अभी गवर्नमेंट्स है, उन लोगों ने बहुत कुछ किया यहाँ पे। 2-3 सालों से यहाँ पे बहुत टूरिज्म आ रहा है।
Has the post Article 370 abrogation change, the impact of it also percolated when it comes to the local fishing community?
हर एक यहाँ पे ₹10 कमा रहा है।
यहाँ पर लोग आते हैं घूमने के लिए, फिर वो खरीदारी करते हैं शॉल्स, पेपर मशी, अखरोट लकड़ का, क्योंकि यहाँ भी लोग है ना, रोजी इनकी भी चलती है यहाँ से।
After 38 years, I have seen tremendous change in this place.
हमारा कश्मीर जो है सबसे खूबसूरत डल लेक, शांति है यहाँ पे।
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and time now for sport. And I have with me Deepika Mehta. Deepika, tell us what is happening in the world of sport.
A lot of activities, from ice hockey to cricket. A lot of fun is buzzing in the world of sports. So first, let's get to viewers a quick update on what's happening in ice hockey. Well, with over 90% of India's ice hockey talent hailing from Ladakh, it is now more than just a sport, because it has become a path to resilience, livelihoods, and also transforming Ladakh into a winter sports heaven. India's Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur recently unveiled a roadmap for India's rise in Winter Games.
In the high-altitude landscapes of Ladakh, a groundbreaking initiative is shaping up. Introducing Game Changer, the blueprint that envisions the comprehensive development of ice hockey in the Union Territory. Game Changer is not just a document, it's a roadmap to propel India into the realm of 2042 Winter Olympics. In collaboration with the International Ice Hockey Federation, this holistic blueprint drives deep. From equipment and infrastructure to scouting local talents, international coaching camps, and professional governance, every facet is meticulously covered.
This will help us to make Ladakh an important international destination for ice hockey in the world. A winter sport like ice hockey has multiple benefits for the local community, as it helps unite a community behind a sport.
Over 90% of India's ice hockey talents hail from Ladakh, turning winter sport into a beacon of resilience and livelihood for the youth. But this isn't just about sports. It's about transforming Ladakh into a sought-after winter sports destination.
This blueprint is game changer and will certainly pave the way to enable an Indian ice hockey contingent to participate in the 2042 Winter Olympics.
वेल ट्रेन, वेल इक्विपमेंट, वेल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के साथ आज आइस हॉकी का भविष्य लद्दाख में बहुत देश को आगे ले जाने की जो क्षमता रखते हैं.
Commissioned by the administration of Ladakh, this blueprint is poised to redefine the future of ice hockey and winter sports across India. Ladakh holds the key with its potential to not only nurture local talent, but to also boost winter tourism, creating a win-win situation for the community and the nation. Tapas Bhattacharya reporting for DD India.
Well, defending champion Argentina kicks off the 2024 edition of Copa America on the 20th of June in Atlanta against the playoff winner between Canada and Trinidad and Tobago. Reigning champions Argentina and South American heavyweights Brazil are included in favorable groups, while hosts the United States will come up against 15-time winners Uruguay. Our next report has more details for you.
The path to Copa America glory has been outlined as the draw for next year's edition is unveiled in Miami. Reigning champions Argentina and South American heavyweights Brazil are included in favorable groups, while hosts the United States will come up against 15-time winners Uruguay for next year's tournament. World Cup winners Argentina kick off the tournament in Atlanta on June 20th against the playoff winner between Canada or Trinidad and Tobago. Argentina will also face Peru and Chile. CONCACAF Gold Cup winners Mexico are in Group B alongside Jamaica, Venezuela and Ecuador. The US face Bolivia and Panama in their first two Group C matches before taking on heavy hitters Uruguay. 9-time winners Brazil have been drawn in Group D with Colombia and Paraguay, as well as either Honduras or Costa Rica. 16 teams will contest for the coveted trophy. Semi-finals will be in New Jersey on July 9th, 10th, while final will take place on July 14th. Sports Desk, DD India.
A quick update on cricket now. India takes on Afghanistan in the Under-19 Asia Cup group stage at the ICC Academy ground in Dubai on Friday. Indian captain Uday Saharan won the toss and elected to field. Defending champions India has won the tournament so far 8 times. Update from volleyball now. In the ongoing Women's Volleyball Club World Championship, Japan's Suntory Sunbirds became the first team to book a semi-final berth. Sunbirds are playing in the prestigious competition for the first time. They saved 4 match points in the third set and then forced a decider to assure themselves of 1 point from their second Pool B match and seal their semi-final berths. Master champion Jon Rahm has become arguably LIV Golf's most significant signing for the 2024 season. The world number 3's decision to leave the PGA Tour for the Saudi-funded circuit represents a huge U-turn. Moving on, Juventus are not interested in rejoining the European Club Association after the European Club Association chairman Nasser Al Khalifi opened the door for their return. So that was a quick wrap from the world of sports. Back to Siddharth.
All right, Deepika, thank you so much for all those updates from the world of sport. India's Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture, Sciences and Technology has unveiled a first-of-its-kind winter flower garden that defies the winter chill. The beautiful division of floriculture and landscape architecture develops Winter Flori Garden, also known as Gule-Daud. The garden welcomes about 5 to 6 lakh tourists every year. All right, and that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. So, what do you think? Cricket.